This week we're at Adelaide 1988 in the modern day GT4, which is kind of ironic. The Guerilla mods version in the smaller subsection of that mod pack, but good variety nonetheless. Pretty good mod, pretty good track, kind of weird meshing, but I think it works pretty well. A quick note, there are a lot of places where you can cut and the track doesn't tell you that you cut, but for our purposes we're going to take it on the honor system that you're actually not cutting very egregiously, and I'm going to show you the best way to get around the track within the rules that we're setting. So as normal, we're going to start from the pit. Really easy pit exit. The biggest thing to do is make sure that you're not going to be ruining somebody's lap, but since they're going to be on hot lap, it's not that hard on a straight to notice, and then you're kind of right in the way if you go out at the wrong time, so just make sure you're really watching them and nobody's coming on a hot lap. After that, you're just right in the lap, get to it. So I'm going to cut, and we're going to be at the start finish line and show you how to do a lap. So at the start finish line, I'm going to do this whole thing in the Mercedes as I did the hot lap in the Mercedes. So coming out of the last turn, you'll be on the left side. We want to kind of migrate our way to the right. Knowing the pit lane's there, just be cautious if somebody's coming out of pit lane. Float over it, and right at the 100-ish, we're going to start braking. Downshift one gear, and then at the 50, we're going to be starting to look into the first turn, or the first section of turns is what I'm going to call it. If we're going for a really hot lap, we can actually cut onto that grass on our left. It will disrupt the car, but for the most part, you should get through it pretty fine. If we're going for a consistent race lap, we're going to be really wanting to go for a more of a neutral and just kiss the curb. Same with these curbs over on our right. You can really send it over the curb, and that is the fastest way, but we're trying not to cut very hard. So just putting two tires up on the curb doesn't really hurt your stability of the car. Some cars it does. I noticed the McLaren doesn't really like the curbs as much, but you can probably tune that out a lot harder, or a lot more than some of the other cars that just come out of the box a little bit more comfortable with taking curbs. Same with this turn, taking it completely flat. Just give it a little bit of a cut up onto the grass, and you should make it perfectly fine, which will set you out against this wall. You might kiss it a little bit, it's fine. Braking for this turn is going to be somewhere past that bridge and between the 100 marker. It depends on the car. Some cars brake a little bit better, and you might have a better run out of the last turn, but we're going to be braking very hard down in the second gear. Rumble strip on our left is the designation to start turning into the turn. There is a little patch of grass that you can hop up onto if you are very brave and don't want to hit the wall. If not, just take the normal line. There's going to be moments where you're going to be off over into that grass on our left, and you can see the walls kicked out a little bit. You can get away with it, especially if you have a little bit of a loose rear end for a moment, but this wall narrowly or sharply narrows into the track. Be very cautious of it, because that will wreck a lot of your car very quickly. We'll be in second gear and then braking right at the 50 marker. Turn in right when the rumble strip on our right starts. Again, there is grass there, but this turn's actually pretty difficult for a couple reasons. It's a lot sharper than a lot of people realize, and it's a blind turn for a lot of people because of this A-pillar. So just be very cautious of it. Stay in second gear. You can come out, hop up onto the curb. Some people hit the grass in the wall, but just be careful. This one, we can drop the whole way through the 50 sign, then brake into the turn. There is a piece of macadam on top of that curb over here. This one's a little bit more disruptive than the grass I've noticed. However, it's not too bad. You can get away with kissing it and still be okay. Still in second gear, we're powering through. We'll be up on this curb and over it a couple times, but that's okay because our two tires would still be on what's considered the racetrack if our track limits were okay. So being over here isn't the end of the world. We just have to make sure that we get back over to the right side of the grass before it starts. Now that we're in here, right around the right when you get into a car's length of this rumble strip on our right, we want to start looking for this turn, because we're going to be apexing at pretty much a normal spot, but we'll be in third or fourth depending on the car. Dab of the brakes to really get the car to rotate into this turn, and then keep it settled. Again, third or fourth, and then we're going to be really kind of close on that wall on our right, but we're going to really need it to keep all of our momentum into this turn. Again, up on this curb, do your best not to get over it, because if you go over this curb, this whole second part gets really messed up. So we're gonna have to brake downshift once. So we'll be right around second or third for some cars. You can kiss this curb on our right, but don't go over it because there's actually a dip. And if you get a tire underneath of it, it'll actually launch your car over more than you want. And then it makes the whole flow of this turn go really wonky. Again, we're going to go out here. We'll probably catch the end of this barrier. You might go a little far. Just make sure you get back over before that barrier narrows. And we're just powering through. This one, we're going to brake at or right before the 50. Just a slight dab of the brakes and a downshift. And then we're going to put 2 wheels over this curb. Just enough so that we can just catch the edge of that rumble strip. And then hook back into the track before the wall comes up. And again, long straight, we're just powering as fast as we can. Coming up on probably the hardest braking portion of the track. And I missed the entire braking portion. If you hit the 100, you've gone too far and you're going to have to brake for a long straight line and then dip into the turn. But what we want to do is somewhere between the 200 and right around the 150. I'm usually braking right around the 175. So start at the 200 for your braking point and then start jumping up, jumping up, jumping up. So I'll probably start braking right around here and be fine. Some cars you can push it to here at right around the 150, but if you're going any further than that, you're going to have to really sacrifice your line under the long end. So we're going to be downshifting in the whole way down to second gear. And again, right when the rumble strip on our left starts, we're going to start turning in. We're actually going to be continuing trail braking for this turn. So trail brake the whole way through the turn, clipping the rumble strip on our inside or right, and then we're going to hit this rumble strip on our outside and continue straight. You can swing the car outside and then get a better run. However, this isn't a long straight, so it's not really worth it. I'd rather just take the more direct cut. So cut on our left, and then once your car becomes parallel, straight parallel with the wall on your right or the grass line on your right, we're going to brake a little hard just so that we can get around this turn. Clip the inside, and the best way is actually to put your tires up on the rumble strip so your car is at a sort of an angle. However, you're risking going over. Don't lose a whole lot of time. You will lose a little bit, but your best opportunity to get this next turn is to be the whole way out, just the slingshot through. Not the end of the world if you go over. Best if you just play it safe a lot of the times. I like to hug in because we have the grip. We don't have to swing out. And then sort of like that other turn where we were getting parallel, we're going to cut this turn so we hit the rumble strip. And then once we get parallel with this, hard brake down in the second gear. The only time you should be in first is if you're making a move on the inside. The reason we want to stay in second is that shift from first to second is actually slower than just lugging the engine a little bit coming out of this hairpin turn on the correct line of making it as wide as possible. And then, like I said at the start of this, we're just going to kind of do an angle the whole way through. And then back to the same spot of braking at the 100, turning it at the 50, and then trying to make this as smooth-ish of a snake as possible without doing an insane cut. So that's really it. It's not that bad of a track. The curbs are a little steep. The cars are a little slidey if you push them just past their limits, but it really does work for these cars, and there's going to be a good amount of passing opportunities with those hard braking zones. So I'm going to include a 138.86, I believe, in the Merc. And yeah, be clean. Hope to see you out there, and good racing.